All right, so this week we're talking operators. There's a ton of these to cover. We're going to go over as many as possible. So let's not waste a second and get straight into it. We're going to talk about exactly what an operator is. As always, we're going to cover some terminology. We're going to look at the 7 types of operator that we have. As you can see here, we have the assignment, arithmetic, comparison, logical, identity, membership, and bitwise operators. And we're going to give some descriptions of each operator within this category. So, what is an operator? This is a particular symbol or group of symbols that performs a specific action in your programming language. Now, most programming languages are going to use the same set of symbols. So obviously a plus sign is for addition, a hyphen is for subtraction, a slash is for division, an asterisk is for multiplication. That's going to be the case across pretty much every programming language that you see. But there are some specific to certain languages. And in the case of Python, there are some common ones that are in fact missing. So you're going to hear the term operand, and you're going to see the term operand a lot as you are coding and learning the ins and outs of everything to do with the languages that you're using. Now, an operand is an expression, whether it be a variable, a single value, a mathematical operation, a function call, that is on one side or the other of an operator. And the one on the left is obviously called the left-hand operand, and the one on the right is the right-hand operand. Generally speaking, when we're talking about operators that take both sides, that take a left and right-hand operand, that operator is going to work from right to left. And we'll see what that means when we get to some more specific examples. Python is missing 2 of the most common operators. Why? I couldn't tell you. But the plus plus and minus minus operators that you see here are not available in Python. And what do these do? Well, in C++, Java, and many other programming languages, these are incrementer and decrementer operators. What that means is they take only a left-hand operand, and whatever that left-hand operand's value is, it increases or decreases it by 1. It comes in handy for certain constructs like loops, but it is not present in Python. Python does, however, have a times and a divide, so to me that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but I'm not the one developing Python. I'm sure they have a perfectly good reason for why they don't include plus plus and minus minus. As I said, there are 7 types of operator. We're going to be using 6 of these types in this course. The bitwise operators, we're not really going to see much use. You may find a use for them, and here they are described, but we are not going to worry too much about them. So, first you have your assignment operators. There are a few of these, and these take some expression on the right and store it in the variable on the left. You've already seen the equals operator, just the plain Jane assignment. But there's also the arithmetic assignment operators, plus equals, minus equals, times equals, divide equals, and we'll explain exactly what those do when we get to some more specific examples, but they can be used to streamline your code and make it look nice and neat. Now we have our arithmetic operators. These are your basics: plus, minus, times, division, but there are a few additional ones. You see this percentage sign. This does not take a percentage. This is what we call a modulus operator, or a modulo. That does something very specific that is very useful in any programming language where it's present, but it is a very common one. Now we have comparison operators. If you remember your mathematical inequalities, you understand all of these. You have greater than or equal, less than or equal, and you have just equal. The important distinction here is a comparison equal is composed of two equal signs, not one. So if you do a single equals, that's going to store the value on the right in the variable on the left. If you use the double equal, that's going to say, okay, do these have the same value? And it will give you a true or false. Next is logical. This is for combining conditions and modifying them when we're talking about true-false statements. You have AND, which performs a logical AND, as we saw when we talked about propositional logic. So if P and Q are both true, not correct, pardon me. If P and Q are both true, then P and Q, the operation, is true. Otherwise, it is false. Then you have OR. If one or the other or both are true, then the operation is true. And then, of course, NOT is the negation of whatever you're referring to. And in Python, as you can see, that is just plain words. In other programming languages, they will use a double ampersand for AND, double vertical bar symbol for OR, and an exclamation point for NOT. But Python, being readable first and foremost, uses just the words AND, OR, and NOT. Next, we have identity, and it's, as it says here, it compares objects to see if they are the same. Now, this is a bit confusing as to how it works. This does not check the value. This checks the type and the exact, like it says, identity. Are these not necessarily equal, although that is the case, but are they actually the same variable? Are they the same thing in the same part of memory? You can also use this for checking the type of a variable. That is the most common use for the is and is not operator in Python. Next, we have the membership operator, which looks to see if a particular object is a part of another. You could think of the membership operator as the subset of symbol from when we talked about sets. So if you have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in a list, and you were to say found equals 5 in list, whatever that list's name happens to be, that would give you true. And we'll see how these work when we actually start doing specific examples. The last one we're going to talk about, we're not going to spend much time on this, is the bitwise operators. The bitwise AND, OR. We also have our bit shift operators, which are the same as they are mathematically speaking. So if you think back to our binary arithmetic, 2 right arrows shifts to the right, 2 left arrows shifts to the left. And that is the same here in Python. The and OR bitwise operators here, these can be used for examining a string of binary digits. In some game design, or in some game engines, they'll collect a group of true-false flags that relate to a given object into a single binary string, into a single binary sequence, word, whatever term you want to apply to it. And this is how you check them. You have your input number, and then it compares the binary of that with the binary of the flags, and it uses that to set these flags. That is just one use of the bitwise operator set. We're not going to really get much use out of them, but you will inevitably find some use for these. So here we are at a bunch of operators, and we're going to take this very slowly and make sure we understand all of these in the upcoming videos. So when we come back, we're going to look at the assignment operators, and we're going to do an example of each of them in Visual Studio Code. So stay tuned for that.